Welcome to Real Community Talks, a video and audio podcast dedicated to making real conversations with community influencers available to everyone. I'm your host, Matt DeSilva, and I meet with some of the dopest community influencers across the greater Toronto area who, maybe by the world standards, might be micro-level influencers, but I know are doing macro-level things. Stay tuned each Tuesday night as we dive into each guest's life, talk process, and get to hear their unique story which molded them into the person they are today. The stories you hear are not necessarily formulas for success, but examples of individuals who are making their dreams possible despite obstacles. I firmly believe that everyone has a unique story that could potentially change someone's entire perspective on their circumstance. I hope you enjoy the show. Welcome back to Real Community Talks, where real conversations with community influencers are made available to everyone. I'm your host, Matt DeSilva, and on today's episode, we have my boy, Basir Ahmad, aka BFX, on the episode. Basir, thank you for being on the show.
Hey, man, thanks for having me.
So, I feel like we haven't seen each other since the security days, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Firewatch days, jeez.
Jeez. Walking pylon days.
Oh my god, literally, like, you know what? If you have a car and you're a little bit big and have a beard, like any security company will hire you. Pretty much.
Our company was hiring anyone.
I know.
65 and in a wheelchair and can't walk and crutches and whatever the case is, they'll hire you.
I'm not trying to get judgmental on this podcast,
Yeah,
but like
same.
you see some people and you're like, yo, like I can tell you how many people could take that person, and they're like guarding a bank or whatever. And I'm
Exactly.
like, walking pylons is true. But anyways, for those of you that may not know who Basir is, and if you don't know him from his photography or CFRE, your waste. So for the two waste people that don't know this guy, Basir is a digital marketing associate and graphic designer by trade. He's a photographer who runs BFX Photography and a page called Click Clique 6, which highlights GTA photographers. He was a radio DJ on CFRE radio at UTM. He graduated from UFT, the UTM campus, with a degree in CCIT and a minor in political science and sociology. He graduated from Sheridan College with a certificate in digital communication, and he's currently enrolled in George Brown College to complete a postgrad in digital media marketing, which he's on the Dean's Honors list at the moment.
Yeah.
Among many other things, he is a rapper, a poet, a public speaker, a sound engineer, a content creator, an editor, and a blogger. Did I miss anything?
Nah, you got everything.
All right, good. So with that, why don't we segue into what's your origin story? So who is Basir Ahmad and where are you from?
So I was born and raised downtown Toronto, Parliament in Regent Park. We moved to Brampton at grade 5. Well, I started grade 5 when we moved, and I've lived there ever since. Prefer Toronto, I'm not gonna lie, just put it out there. But honestly, Brampton was a good place to like grow up and stuff. Just like a really clean community. Everyone's really friendly and stuff, so can't hate on that. But now that I'm older, there's nothing there to do.
Yeah, true.
Aside from that, like BFX is pretty much like, it stands for Basir FX, like EFF,
like that.
ECTS, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
So that originally originated because I was doing a lot of graphic design and I had to put my signature on my work because people were stealing it, right? So I was on a lot of graphic forums like Divine Art and stuff like that. And the problem was if I didn't have a username, I couldn't sign up. So I was like, all right, well, Basir's FX, okay, BFX, okay, boom, there you go, my name.
There you go.
And then I started doing a lot of it in school for like, people that were there and like assignments and stuff. And my prof would always say, my teacher, she'd always say, oh, you got to put your name on it. But I would just write BFX and she would know what that means, right?
Yeah.
And then the good thing about it is people started calling me that. And I started rapping around like high school too. So I guess like BFX from graphic designing converted into like me being a rapper. I don't rap as much now, but people just still call me that. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to make that my photography name too and stay true to who I am and how I came up, I guess.
True. So you mentioned you got into photography. So were you like self-taught or did you kind of take any training programs?
To be honest, it was a lot of YouTube, like just watching tutorials and like a lot of it came from like just meeting up with photographers and being like, how do you do what you do? And then it's not that I would mimic their work. I'm learning off them, like, okay, how do you hold the camera? Like I'm not asking them like, oh, show me how you got your style down to the T. I'm asking you, show me the techniques you use to get there.
Yeah.
And then it just helped create the style I have right now. And even right now, I'm still in the development of making my style better and to where I want it to be. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I'm not saying I'm bad. So I'm on the verge to get there.
So, back when there was film photography, you could argue that photography was a very specialized art, right? Now you can go and buy this is like, in my opinion, I feel like everyone goes on IG sees super crisp photos, wants to get a DSLR like a T6i or a Rebel or whatever, takes pictures and calls himself a photographer. So do you agree with that? Or like, how do you stay like unique or relevant in such a saturated like market?
Okay, first of all, that whole idea where people say, oh, you can get any camera and shoot, I agree with, because you can be a photographer using your phone. I'm not against that stuff either.
That's true.
There's a lot of dope people that take super crazy pics on their phone. And I know it's just for like the IG or for the gram and stuff, but takes some skill to take those pics, right? Even if the background is super dope and doing most of the work, there's still that technique of, okay, go from this low angle, or like knowing your own angles when you're taking your own pictures and stuff. But as a photographer, I feel like that would make you an amateur, but you'd still be a photographer. If you want to be a more professional photographer, you got to learn all the elements, like your rule of thirds, how you're going to edit on Lightroom, because post-production is just as important as the production, right?
Yeah, that's true.
It comes with anything too, right? Like shooting this podcast, for example. Yeah. If you don't edit it well, people are going to be like, oh, it's choppy, even though like you did a good job in person while you're recording it and stuff, right? So my idea is that like, if you can just get down the camera, how the camera works, work your way around the camera, whether it's a phone, a DSLR that's like $1,000 or $5,000 one, as long as you know what you're doing with your camera, you can produce good quality work.
True. Because like, do you know a guy named Peter McKinnon?
It's my idol.
Honestly, like I look at Peter McKinnon's life and his vlogs, and I'm just like, I wish I had that guy's life. But I think he actually just posted a video of like shooting an entire wedding on an iPhone.
On an iPhone,
That's crazy. So you know what? I appreciate that perspective too. I guess maybe I reword my question is I guess there's a lot of skill going into taking the picture, and I guess what people worry about is maybe having the expensive gear. But I guess you just got to shoot on whatever you have, and then you can always develop, right?
Exactly.
I don't know for you, but for me, I literally I was that guy. I grabbed the camera. I started with a GoPro and I'm like, boom, I like this. And then I started taking pictures and I'm like, these are too fisheye. Bought the Nikon, which is your angle right now. Bought a 50 millimeter. And this is the camera I started with. And even though it's a crop censored camera, I taught myself, I learned, I went on, like I would take gigs, even though I'm not, I'm an amateur. And then I'd be like, how to take gigs in outdoor photography. Literally watch like Peter McKinnon and all these guys and kind of just like BS it until I made it. But I'm still learning, but I like that perspective because I think people complicate the process instead of just starting.
Well, to be honest, the saying like amongst photographers where you should start off with a really shitty, bad camera, just because then you develop your core fundamentals of skills where you know how to work your exposures, your apertures and your lighting, and you're paying attention to the field of depth and how the person's modeling. Because if you have a really expensive camera, you can take really good photos just by pointing and shooting, right? But you're not going to get those skills. You're not going to, strengthen those skills that you would need to be like Peter McKinnon, for example, So, and he's awesome, by the way. So if he sees this, shout out to him.
So do you feel like a lot of photographers wouldn't be as popping if it weren't for IG?
To be honest, maybe just like because there's a lot of other platforms right now that are like for photographers. Like there's 500px and there's Visco and even Facebook, right? Like Facebook was the originating platform for all these things, right? Like images, captions, and all that stuff. So I mean, there's still other platforms out there, but like Instagram puts people on the map.
That's true.
It just gives you more exposure because people are going on there to look at photos, right? That's the photographer's main thing to do, show photos.
Yeah, that's true. And I feel like it's free marketing. I always tell people that when people ask me like, oh, how to grow a following or just mini consultations I do with people is like, where else are you getting something? I mean, you can do paid ads, but where are you getting something where you can authentically and organically grow like a following without having to pay someone to do it, right?
Exactly. And the good thing with Instagram is like once you do a little bit of research on it and you understand how like the algorithm works, just use hashtags and you can get some followers. People use that stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like just take a little bit of time, look into it, turn your account to a business account. It's free, and then you can see your analytics, how many people are viewing your post, when you should post, and then you just do your, you analyze your own work as you're going and then determine what's the best outcome for your account. And a lot of people are doing some dope stuff on their feed. Like if you scroll through them, like there's one person I saw whose concept was like the top pictures were orange, and then as you scroll down, it would fade into blue.
Oh, that's crazy.
But what they're doing is they're taking the orange elements, adding blue into them, and then the bottom ones have more blue into them. So when you're scrolling, it's just fading gradually, right? And then the next color comes, which is red, and then the next color. And then there's people that have like certain color schemes where it's like white, black, and pink, or some people have it just red, or some people have it orange and blue. And it's harder to it's harder to maintain that, but yo, some great work.
Because like I think before I learned that is like, I think you have to make sure that like your past 9 posts have some consistent theme or whatever, because when people click on your profile, it's like when they watch a YouTube video. Like someone might only tune in to the first 10 seconds, and if we haven't grabbed their attention, they're not going to watch it, right? Exactly. So if someone looks at your account first 2-3 seconds, if they don't like that scheme, they might not check it out. Exactly. And I didn't realize that I used to post so much until I cleaned up my IG, and I'm like, even the aesthetic of that kind of is important to do, right? So
no, 100% I agree.
So you're working on a portrait photography project right now that you said ends in August. So why don't you talk a bit about that and the purpose behind that?
All right. So the project I decided to do, it's not something I was planning months in advance. It's something I just woke up and I was like, yeah, I want to do this. So my goal is I want to photograph at least 30 to 40 people before the end of August. And each person that I do it with, I don't want to have to really have a connection with them. Like I don't really want to know who they are. It's more of a networking opportunity for me. Like I want to be able to meet someone. Because the way let me explain how I do my photography. It will make a little bit more sense. When I do like a photo session with someone, usually the way that it goes is we chill for like an hour. You know, I tell the person, like, yo, I try to get to know you because I try to build that relationship, and then I tell them straight up towards the end that whatever we talked about, are you cool if I caption any of it? Because I like people knowing like little bits and stuff that went on between us, or just funny little things, or anything that like stands out to me, right? And that way, it's like I'm building a network, and then I'll be like, all right, let's go take photos, and it just makes them that much more comfortable, right? Like I did a photo shoot 2 days ago with Tristan. If you remember Tristan from Security. Oh my god, that was just such a chill thing. I haven't seen him just as long as I haven't seen you, like since Security days. And like we're just chilling and stuff, and like before we even shoot, like we're just chilling by our cars, just talking, conversating. And then I was like, all right, let's go shoot. We're just walking, casually shooting in between our shots, talking, having conversations. And I like it because like it just makes you more comfortable in front of the camera, knowing that you're comfortable with the person behind the camera.
True.
A lot of people don't realize that, and it's like me myself, like, okay, my biggest pet peeve is like I don't like being in front of a camera. Like I feel so like nervous right now sitting in front of this camera because I'm used to being behind it. But like because I know you, I feel kind of comfortable, right? So I try to bring out that element, and the whole point of this photography thing is like I want people to be in their element and then see the progress of like, you know, like what comes out of the photos and stuff, right? Like be able to look back at it and say, yo, like I did it, you know, like oh yo, this is the best side of me, or yo, I look good here, you know, something positive comes out of it. Like I reached some random girl, I don't even know her, reached out to me and she's like, yo, let's do a photo shoot. And I was like, you know what, I'm down, let's do it. And then her thing was like, okay, well, I've never done it before. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm not, me personally, I'm not the best at posing people, but like over time, like I've seen people do it, so I just tell them to mimic those people, right? So I told her, I was like, yo, like I'll let you do whatever you want. If it looks awkward, I'll let you know, but like obviously in a nice way, and I can give you directions if you want, but end of the day, like I would want you to do your thing. And then she's like, yeah, you know what, like that's cool, like if I need any help, I'll let you know. I'm gonna do some practicing, blah blah blah. Do you have any tips? And then I just looked up random videos. Like I don't know too much about modeling, but whatever I thought would work on camera and she could easily learn, I just sent her some videos, and I'm supposed to shoot with her in like 2 days actually, so true. I'll let you know how that goes.
And I feel like you said networking with people and just talking with them, like that's gonna bring you return business, because that one person can tell 10. I think most businesses say if you have a good reaction with someone, they'll tell 10 other people generally. So I mean, you know, then Tristan's gonna be like, oh, I know this dope photographer BFX, and boom boom boom. I think that's the same way even with this podcast with me is I mentioned it in one of the previous episodes, like I'm not expecting to get paid or get anything sponsored from this, but I just love having super dope conversations with cool people. And not that I'm just like, oh, I need to get Basir because if I ever need him one day. No, but like I know that you guys respect me enough to be like, yo, Matt's doing this. Maybe I have a guest for him and stuff. It's all about networking, because I was talking to one of my youth today, and she was making a resume for a job, and she's like, oh, you know, should I put this? Should I put this? And I'm like, don't stress too much about just obviously you have to put good things in a resume, but I'm like, sometimes it's who you know, right? It's who you know who can get you into the door, get you that interview. I feel like that's the only way I got into government, because a guy knew me and he literally went and gave me like an in-person reference. He's like, you need to hire this guy, right? So I think networking goes a long way.
Well, truth be told, like I kind of agree with what you're saying, but at the same time, like I'm not trying to get business with the photography, because the way I'm doing is like I'll do work for free that I like doing, right? Because if I respect your craft and what you do, like if you're a model or, you're like a skateboarder or you're whatever the case, a basketball player, and you're like, yo, come shoot for me.
Yeah.
If I like and support what you're doing, I'll usually do it for free.
True.
The way that I see it is if it's going to take up a lot of my time, like I did a wedding shoot and the person was like, oh, like it'll be like an hour or two. I was like, you know what, whatever. Like I know you, cool.
Yeah.
Ended up being like 5 hours. And I was like, yo, I'm not planning on taking any money off. I'm not going to ask him.
Yeah,
So I said that. But then like later on, he's like, yo, his parents like, yo, take this. You work so hard.
There you go.
I took it because I was like, yo, you know what? No, in most cases, I'm like, nah, you know what? I'm not going to take it.
Yeah.
But it's a case where it's like, yo, I'm spending too much time here now. Like if I'm going to be there for a long period of time, it's taken away from my work or anything else I have going on, then I'm like, I need to get paid. But in most cases, it's like one of my friends, she's a model too, right? So she's like, yo, can you help me out with my portfolio and blah, blah, blah. I was like, you know what? Yeah, like no harm done. We met up, we took her photos, and we chilled for a little bit, and we cut. I'm not expecting her to go tell her friends, blah, blah, blah. But what I'm getting out of it is it's like, okay, I got a couple minutes to chill with you. If I ever need to reach out to you for anything, I know you're there. And at the same time, I'm just building cool like friendships and relationships. Like that's
cool.
that's more important for me because end of the day, like relationships will get you farther than like $5, $10, $20 that an image will. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So. And like, yeah, sometimes I meet people where it's like I see them for like 3 hours and then we'll never meet again. But if we do see each other, it won't be awkward because she knows who I am. I know who she is. Have a little simple conversation or same with like a random dude. True. And like, let me tell you one thing like I truly believe in. One of my buddies, okay, we were having this conversation and like I thought I'd bring it up on your show where he's starting up his own clothing line, right? Like he's a illustrator. So he's like, you know what, let me convert these to designs. And I told him, I'm like, yo, don't cheap out. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, invest in your business. He's like, how am I supposed to do that? I'm like, yo, start giving out some shirts for people to model in. Yeah. He's like, why would I give out inventory? I'm like, you want to make a return on profit? You got to let people see who you are. And I'm like, you want to grow in Mississauga and Brampton, Toronto? No one knows who you are here. You got to start giving stuff out. So exactly. Like I tell people, like, if you're like for example, person that make clothes and stuff like that, right? Give me 3 shirts, not because I'm saying I'm going to wear them, but I'll give them to models to wear and then I'll take pictures and I'll send them to you for free. Marketing. You know what I'm saying? If your passion matches with mine, let's do something together, right? It's just a collaboration. Don't look at it as I'm trying to, take your clout from you, your fame or whatever you're trying to get. Nah, look at it as me and you are collabing and then boom, we got some great work,
Yeah.
So
I even like that too because I mean, I've been talking about networking, but it's even beyond networking for you. Like you said, it's just even developing friendships. Like, yo, how many people you know today that'll just want to go chill and do something for you for free? And that's the thing. Like, I think Gary Vee, we talked a bit about us both liking him, is he always talks about bankrupting kindness because he's like, I may never get anything back in return, but he's like, people know what I do and they value me for what kind of person I am. Right. Yeah. So, it's kind of segueing into what you kind of do, on a day-to-day basis, which is digital marketing. So why don't you talk a bit about like, what actually digital marketing entails, and then we'll kind of get into a little bit more about that. So.
Yeah, sure. So digital marketing is pretty much like the biggest way to put, like the simplest way to put it is like marketing your brand, marketing yourself. Okay, so you got to look at it in a perspective as people want to know how can I go viral. Well, you got to have a content or some type of content that tells a story.
Yeah,
and that's like one of the hardest things to do because you can talk and talk and talk, right? But that's rambling. Now imagine your content being like that. You're just posting and posting and posting. It's just rambling, right? In a sense. So digital marketing, pretty much what it teaches me is like elements of how to get people's attention to like your stuff.
Yeah.
And pretty much there's obviously rules and stuff you have to follow and like some technical aspects of it, like for learning Photoshop and, learning how to make a database and stuff like that. But the main core is like controlling your brand. And a lot of it I notice is like you have to be on top of it because end of the day, your brand is everything. Some people say, "Oh, I'm worthless." There's a saying I read where it says, "I'm worthless, but my brand is worth everything." And for me, I kind of get what that's saying because if you're not living your brand, you're faking it. Like there's no such thing as like, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna put all my time into something," and then it's not really reflecting who I am, or it's not reflecting the overall picture and stuff like that, right? So, for example, like my BFX thing, like I'd be a hypocrite if I said, okay, yo, for each photo shoot I do, I charge like $100, and then I'm trying to build relationships. Like that's with who? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like at the same time, like okay, I could build relationships with some businesses, but I'm not going in that route. Like end of the day, I'll be honest, I work like a 9-to-5 job.
Yeah.
And by the time I'm actually home, it's 7 o'clock. So it's not even a 9-to-5. Yeah. It's 9 to 7. I have like 5 hours to live my day. So I would rather dedicate 2 hours to go chill with someone, take some photos, than turn that into a business and have to go meet someone and take photos.
Because you're good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Wow. I like that too. And I've talked about even just rearranging my sleep too, is because I mean, he's come right after work here and he's had a long day too. But I mean, that's the thing too. And you know, you never know what that investment you made into someone's life in a friendship and a relationship will return in the future, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, like I like what you just said. It kind of just hit me, and I'm like, facts. It's like I only have 5 hours to live my day, and it's like, remember when we were kids and like, you know, we didn't have jobs or like we work part time, and I'm like, now I'm like, adulting sucks sometimes, man. I'm like, yo, you have no social life, but you just gotta kind of suck it up and get it done, right?
Yeah.
If I could ask you a favor, being friends, you know, with that same thing we talked about. As a digital marketer, you've checked out my stuff already for Real Community Talks. What's one thing you think I could do to elevate what I'm doing right now?
One thing you could do to elevate you're doing. Let me think.
Let's just say on maybe IG, or you can even say the YouTube content. What do you think is something maybe I'm not doing that I could do or maybe improve on?
I'm trying to think.
Don't worry. Be as honest as possible.
Okay, I can be honest, and then I could be like honest. You know,
be honest.
Be honest. Okay, let me think. Okay, so I'll base it off your videos. First of all, I like the quality of everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's dope. It's way better than most people would have started.
Yeah,
it's better than when I started shoot, because I did a little bit of videos at CFRE, so it's way better than that. I'll give you that for sure. Maybe you should try having more than one guest. It just adds some diversity,
like multiple at the same time, right?
Yeah. And maybe some older heads. Like when I saw you post one with your dad, and I think that was probably one of my favorite ones.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like just me personally. Like I like hearing like my parents' stories and origins, when they talk, and that inspires me just as much as hearing like someone from my generation.
Yeah.
So I think that's dope.
I still have that content. Maybe I should. So this is my plan. So I'm glad that you said that, because I talked a bit about it before as not executing unless like having things, but not always bringing them out so early and telling everyone, because some people might speak into your process that they might just say a bunch of crap. But that's actually my plan. So one of my plans for season 2 is to do panel episodes. So to get someone who might be in digital marketing, to get someone who might be like, you know, like an imam or a pastor, to get someone who might be like a fashion designer, and just have a total bunch of different opinions and perspectives, and, you know, get very topical on it. So that's one of my plans. So thank you for suggesting that.
Yeah.
And 2 is I actually have like a few older heads actually coming on the episodes. I got some people who are running politically, so stay tuned for that content. But no, I appreciate that. So and I'm the kind of person where I'm like, I'm not oblivious to the idea that I need to improve, and part of it is showing people, like I talked about, putting a watermark in my video, doing this. Like I want to show people my growth, because that's more impactful than just showing them a perfect show. Right. But I mean, like I take that, because at the end of the day, you can sit here and talk on a mic and be on a podcast, but if it's not adding value to anyone, it's like Twitter. You're just making a tweet that no one retweets, right? So you have to have some purpose or value to what you're doing. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
So we kind of talked a bit about what you do with you know, digital media marketing. Something new that came out on IG is IGTV. And a lot of people are like, oh, it's a YouTube competitor. 2 questions. 1, do you think that people will actually watch like a portrait video like this for an hour? And 2, do you think IGTV is going to be that next platform?
No and yes. No, because to be honest, I can't watch it. So I'm speaking from personal experience. Yeah. I just get like videos I don't mind, because the purpose of it's to be short and quick, you know? Yeah. So it's like a 10-second video. It's like, okay, not bad. Yeah. If it gets my attention, it gets my attention. If it doesn't. But watching an hour, it's like, and sometimes it's the same stuff that's already on their account, you know? So you've seen it before. True. And it's just annoying. Like sometimes I see a lot of like, I follow a lot of rappers on my Instagram accounts, and then like it's just like, okay, I already saw this. Like I'm not trying to watch it again, right? And like most cases, like I don't watch it. I don't even click the button. Yeah. But I do feel like it's gonna blow up, because to be honest, everything on IG sort of has. So I feel like its time will come once that one person uses it for something different. Yeah. You know, and whether it's gonna be like making something, a live video on spot, or whatever the case is gonna be, like, or showing how they're editing a photo, whatever the case, tutorials, whatever, right? It's just that one thing needs to happen for it to pop, and then it will, right? As of right now, I haven't seen anything of interesting on that. Because that's what I definitely know, like from now, is everyone's saying don't repurpose content. I mean, unless you, like, let's say I take multiple episodes and then I make a compilation video on a specific topic, like let's say the process, and then I whatever. But I think what I've kind of planned to do, and you can kind of weigh in on it, is I kind of want to do like what we were talking about, like behind the scenes, so people see how it is to actually make an episode and what I'm doing. In the future, what I want to get into is, you know, like even when we were talking off camera, kind of just record that stuff and just kind of talk, even if it's like, you know, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's just whatever. But that's in the future when I can get someone to be on my team. I'm just doing it by myself. And another thing, some people kind of
liken to the idea is maybe just posting the guest rapid fires on my IGTV because they're under 10 minutes anyway. So what do you think about that?
On your IGTV, yo, to be honest, post like bloopers. Like I think that'd be just because you can keep that even shorter than 10 seconds. You know what I'm saying? True. It's just funny too, and like you can make it. Oh, watch our next video and just post like a little blooper or something, or like even like quotes. Like if you find like you think something like a dope quote, just put it up there. Because what I noticed on IG, like you can have a dope video, you can have a dope picture, but like sometimes the caption just like it's over the edge. You know what I'm saying? So if it sucks, it takes a really impact on your thing.
True.
And a lot of photographers and videographers actually focus on telling stories nowadays than copying, pasting a Drake lyric or something like that.
True.
So
yeah. So you have all these multiple degrees relating to technology and digital media. What's the motive for you down the road? Like, are you planning to, do something more individually, or where do you want this to take you?
Well, to be honest, like I really do love my job right now. Where I work for a corporate company and I do a lot of their digital media stuff, their branding, social media, and like making videos. And there's obviously stuff where it comes like doing databasing work and like there's a little bit of research and stuff. But like I like just working on creating content, So what I eventually want to do is I want to be like a marketing director, just because I want to be the man. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's the position in the corporate world, to be the man. So I'm trying to work towards that. But outside from that, it's like I want to work on my own brand, and everything I learn is like be able to like transfer it onto my own personal stuff, just because like I want my own brand to grow, I want to be like the Peter McKinnon of like Brampton. You know what I'm saying? Like just like something like that, but like those are goals. End of the day, like I want to get bigger, and end of the day, it's not just like I want to do it for myself. Like sometimes I'll be out with my boys and stuff and I'll just preach to them, right? I'll give you a sick example. So the same boy I told you, the graphic designer, so he always talks to me like, yo, what can I do to like market better and blah blah blah. I told him, I was like, yo, do you like tag anybody in your photos when you post them? He's like, nah. I was like, why? Like, yo, it's just good attention you can get. He's like, okay, so who should I tag? The person I'm gonna make a picture of or something? I'm like, nah, tag everyone around them. Like, let the word of mouth go to them and let them get curious to come see your stuff. Wow. Yo, he made a picture of John Legend as Arthur, just roasting him. Tagged Chrissy Teigen, everyone around Chrissy Teigen, and she reposted it on her
That's
Instagram.
Crazy. Yeah, that's crazy.
He blew up. He had 80 followers. Now he has 900, almost 1,000.
What?
Yeah. So I'm like, yo, keep doing stuff like that. And now like he makes a lot of like UFC MMA gear. Wow. And it's crazy because like these fighters are liking his stuff and like sharing his stuff. Like Joe Rogan liked it. And these are people like we look up to because we watch UFC all the time together. So it's crazy. So as I'm saying, so like sometimes I just like to spread the knowledge because end of the day, like I said, build relationships, build networks, educate people. Yeah.
I'm literally taking notes down, like tag other people. I love that. It's such a dope idea. And shout out to Joe Rogan, one of probably the dopest podcasts out there.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Literally just started with nothing. Like no one like on his team did it by himself with a few people. Boom. Yeah. So that just shows you guys don't complicate the process. So obviously we're both brown guys. Something that
with beards,
with beards, beard gang. I actually like that one time when I shaved and you're like beard membership revoked. I was dying. I've been using that ever since. But oftentimes society and family and certain cultures kind of look down on the more digital types of professions, and they want you to be doctors, lawyers, the typical things. Was there anyone kind of telling you to drop this passion or take something more practical that maybe paid more money or whatever?
Yo, to be honest, like even till this day, I tell my parents like I'm a marketer and they don't know what that means. So like I'll be like, what do you think it means? And like they just say like you make stuff, and I'm like, you're right. Like what I'm saying? Like I just don't argue with them, but I try to educate them here and there. But like end of the day, it's like it's just for them. It's like as long as I'm happy, you can just do what you want. And I've always been like that with everything, like work, my social life, religion, whatever the case is. Like as long as you're happy and you're doing your thing, like, and we know you're not like doing anything bad. Yeah, you're good. Yeah. So I never really had anyone saying don't do it, and I've had people saying you can't do it, but I did it. So
yeah. So do you feel like it's important? Like is it everything to make your parents proud and just your profession, or is there other ways? Like
nah, like okay, like I'll give you an example. Like my dad's biggest thing is like I want you to graduate. Like it's and my family, like not a lot of people have done it, but the people that have, they've been really successful. Yeah. And my dad's thing is like, oh, just be educated because we didn't have the opportunities. I want you to have it. True. So I always try to like like okay, let me get my degree. Let me just focus and get it. Even though like I'll be honest, UTM, like I went to University of Toronto with you, but it wasn't that paper doesn't have the same amount of value as experience does for me. Facts. So it's like, okay, I did this for you. Now let me do this for me, So, and they understand that. They're like, all right, you did it for us. Like, let's see what you're going to do now. So
it's almost like a rite of passage. Like there's so many factors of why we go into university.
Yeah.
And it's like one of them is like even with my parents, like they're always like, do what you want to do, at least get an education too.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
So for the young person who wants to get into this field and maybe going through like a little bit more harsh of a situation, what kind of advice would you give them to kind of, just keep persisting in that?
Which field? Photography or marketing?
Like photography, anything like of more of like the arts or like visual arts or stuff like that.
Yo, to be honest, when you do it, don't look to make money, because when you try to make money, you're not focusing on the art. You're focusing on how you can show people the art. And a lot of people don't realize, like, if you don't have a style, you're not known for anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to get that far. Like Peter McKinnon's biggest thing, like from what I've taken in, is like just his authenticity behind the camera. Like it's just, he looks just a genuine guy, and you can see it in his work, and you can see it in the way that he talks and stuff like that. And like, promote yourself, because like everybody's different, like you have to be able to express that difference, because that's what stands out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was watching an interview with Cardi B, and she's like, yo, okay, like the fact I'm quoting Cardi B is kind of sad, but like, yo, she's like, it's my personality that got me out, that got me to pop and stuff like that. It's not my music, it's my personality. And it's true. Like the way she is as a person is what made her like blow up. Obviously her music helped, but like it's just part of her craft. I just feel like you have to focus on the creative aspects. It has to just be in you. It's not something you can force either. Yeah. Because me, myself, when I was in high school, I knew for a fact accounting I'm not going to do. And my professors, I keep saying professors, my teachers would give me shit. They'd be like, oh, you're not going to get far if you don't do good in these type of things, right? And I'm like, I don't want to do these kind of things, like, why are you pushing me? Like, I only took this class just in case as a fallback, right? And then like when I go to like my comp tech classes, it's like a different relationship, because I like the class and the material, right? And I feel like the same way with UTM, right? So one of my other biggest advices is make sure you do your research, and you're going to get something out of this whole thing that you're trying to do, right? Like, I went to UTM for communication, culture, information technology, and it was 4 years that I feel like were a waste of my life, other than the social aspect of it. A lot of it was theory, and I wasn't ready for the workplace. Just wasn't. I go into George Brown. Everything they're teaching me is everything I'm doing in the workplace.
What you need to see.
I feel like they've invested in me as like a future employee or something like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like they didn't invest in me as a student. They want me to be more than that. And like I have close relationships with all my professors. Like we all know each other on a one-on-one basis. And it's like that guidance that they gave me is, I can see the progress, because I'm working in a corporate field in my, like the field I want to be in. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. A lot of people don't have that. They graduate from UTM and they're working at like Zara, right? And no hate to those people. Like, do what you got to do to grind, but like there's always better out there for you.
That's my beef with university, is it's so theory based that it doesn't put you into the real world, like the real world situations like college does. Like, I think it's even better. Like, I'm not like, my master's is a different thing, but the fact that I'm working for a government right now while also going through a program that's teaching me how to be an effective public manager in the future is, it's that much more better, because like you said, now that you're in George Brown College, you can kind of test some of the things you're doing on your daily basis in your fight, right?
And like one more thing I just wanted to say, like, yo, and another thing is too, like when you're in university, I don't know if you feel like it, but you were forced to take some classes you didn't want to take.
Oh my gosh. Like humanities?
Yeah, forget that, yo. I minored in poli-science, sociology. Those are just writing classes. Like I don't want to do that, anything like that, right? Yeah, like it's just, and it's the same thing every year. Like it just didn't motivate me. Like it's crazy, because like when I was at UTM, like I graduated with honors or whatever, but I made the dean's list at George Brown because of how invested I was in the content and what I was learning. You don't get that at university, for me at least, right? Other people might be different, right? But all I'm saying is, like, if you're gonna invest in yourself and invest in this interest of yours, just make sure you do the research behind it, because like that research will push you and take you to the next level. Obviously you're trying to surpass everyone and be the best.
I think like, because I double majored, so I did more poli-sci courses than you probably. The only thing I probably think it made me do was get super woke. That's about it. Like, because you're reading Socrates and Plato, so you'll be like, is this blue or is it like red, and like, all that kind of crap. But anyways, so you have a blog called No One's Better. So what caused you to start? So kind of talk a bit about that, and what kind of caused you to start this, and what you write about.
All right, so No One's Better was the name of my radio show, and I like it just because it's like, I'm not bragging when I say no. I'm not saying no one's better than me. I'm just saying no one's better than anyone. You know what I'm saying? And when I say stuff like, oh, be better than everyone else, in the sense that be the best version you can be of yourself. Yeah. Because sometimes people don't realize, like, when you compare yourself to someone else, you're comparing, am I better than them, when you should say, am I the best version of myself, compared to, are they the best version of themselves? And my whole reason for starting my podcast is like, me and my buddies, we always have dope ass conversations. Like, it's just about random things, like life, like experiences we had, something that traumatized him or whatever the case is. And I'm like, yo, these are some dope ideas that we're talking about. I'm like, maybe I should just write about this. And then my first one, I think it was called like I am BFX. It just talks about like who I am, like kind of how I originated, and I'm just sharing my story. But what I was really doing to myself is I'm just venting, you know, on like notepad on the computer. And it's just a way to express myself without having to actually say it to someone. Because sometimes you can say a lot more on paper than saying it out loud just because you're not comfortable. You know what I'm saying? So when I put it out there, a lot of people read it like, yo, it's a dope read. I was like, all right, cool. So then I post another one, and then I would post another one, like what I'm trying to do with my photography at that time, or my adventures I've had, or conversations, or whatever the case is. And then I'm just like, you know what, this is a pretty good outlet to do it. And then I stopped, okay, because I just got busy. Like I just got back into school, and I was like, crap, like now I'm literally working all day, and then I'm going to school and studying at night. Like after here, I have to go home and write like a 2,000 word paper.
Oh, shoot, my bad.
Yeah, I know, and I dread it so much, but like whatever, just something you have to do, right?
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to get to is like, my whole element of my blog is just so people understand that you can just express yourself while being silent. You know, like that's the biggest thing. I think for me at least. Yeah. Because I do like talking a lot, but most of my conversation with people is like just joking around, kidding around, and just you never really want to get out something like emotional, something that's meaningful to you.
Yeah. And even though I know that in reality it's not who you are, but people tend to define who you are based on like, oh, you're this guy because of what you post on IG, or you're this person because whatever content you put on YouTube. But I think that there's so many elements of how people can know who Basir is, who BFX is, because you got the blog, you got the photography, you know, you got all these different mediums, like you did the radio. So I think it's just a different element. Like you said, you're not reposting the same kind of content and all these kind of things, but you're showing who you are. Because I mean, ultimately, there's nothing that beats one-on-one, like chilling with people and getting to know you. But I think it's just sometimes the things when you sit down and you're not, you know, like when we're talking, we're in our head, we're thinking of what we're trying to say and not trying to mess up. But like when you're sitting down with a pen and paper, you can get like the deepest you've ever been, right? So I respect that. I think that's cool. And also the fact that even though you're still busy, it's not like you're going to go delete that blog or whatever and say, I'm done with it. Like who knows, you might have more time in your life in 3 years where you could even potentially put that into like, not that I'm saying like I know you're not a private guy, but who knows? Someone might want to sponsor it or whatever. Like, so I guess it's that idea to never leave that kind of stuff, even come back to it and kind of just rework on it. Because I don't think for you it's about getting a huge following. It's just like you said, getting what you want to say, inventing on a paper, right?
Yeah. And the good thing is like luckily going back to school, like one of my classes, it's like, yo, we need you to blog. And I was like, sick. I'm gonna take advantage of this opportunity and just start writing.
Experience,
again. Yeah. And I was like, all right, sick. And now my marks are like higher because I already did it before a little bit, right? Yeah. And yeah, like the last 4 blogs I did were for class. So if anybody wants to read them, feel free.
There you go. We'll drop all this stuff in the descriptions for all of his stuff. But your favorite quote, and I rate you so much for this, is the iconic line by Heath Ledger's Joker, "Why so serious?" So what does that mean to you in your context?
Yo, so, okay, a lot of people are looking at things from a non-funny perspective. Like, okay, I get that Joker was saying it in a demonic, like, joking way, but, like, the way I look at it is, like, yo, why you gotta stress about everything? Like, yo, sometimes you just need to step back, take a breather, and laugh, you know? Surround yourself with people that make you want to laugh and be happy and, you know, want the best for you. And it's just, like, for me, it's, like, a positivity type of thing where it's, like, stay positive, you know, good vibes. And why so serious is just like, A, I just really like the Joker, first of all, just this whole character. Facts. And then B, it's like, okay, you know what? Like what he's saying is true. Even though he's talking about it in like a demonic way, like I said, like about his parents, like, oh, why are you so serious? Like, blah, blah, blah. You should just put a smile on that face. Yeah. Like if you look at it in a positive light, it's actually a really good thing to say, you know? Yeah. But yeah, so those are my main reasons.
True. So if any, what role has faith played in all of what we talked about today for you? None at all, to be honest. Like, okay, me, like, I do believe and stuff like that, but like it's just more, I would rather build a connection. Like, I can get into this if you really want me to. Go ahead. Detail. Yeah. All right. So the way I see faith is like, I don't feel like I'm destined to do anything unless I put my mind to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like there's a way you have to think about everything as like a stepping stone. Yeah. You know, you got to make your first step to get to the next. You got to make your next step to get to the next. And like, ultimately, is that leading you towards your ultimate, like your bigger picture? And a lot of people say, yeah, it's faith that I'm going towards this direction, or is it that you're setting yourself up? You know, because some people would be like, oh yeah, faith will take me there, whatever the case is, and they're not doing anything, you know. And I'm like, oh, so what happened? And like, just sitting at home. I'm like, yeah, cool. Yeah, well, that's not how I think, you know. So. And like, I'm not a completely super religious type of person, so
I want to be.
Yeah.
It's just I'm gonna push myself in that direction slowly.
Yeah.
When I'm ready, because that's just how I am. But yeah, just my opinion.
I think I mean, every generation, you hope that people learn from the mistakes of the past and not try to just assimilate to something because my culture says so or my family says so. I think a lot of younger heads like us are just realizing, like, we're questioning big theological things, like, well, why do we believe in that? Why do we go to church on a Sunday, or we go to the mosque, or we go to a temple? Like, what's the purpose? Is, what we're doing actually, benefiting us or changing our lives, or are we working towards something and not just something that's just like, has nothing in return, right? So yeah. I think I respect that a lot, because, I said it in Adrian's episode. It's like, people wear faith like a cross around a necklace, or they wear it like something that hangs on their car window. But it's like, do you actually know why you believe that? And two, if you actually read that book, would you say that you believe in that theologically, right? So
I feel like first thing people need to work on is like building their inner spirit, like just when you become a better person, I feel like you can have a better life, and then ultimately you can believe in God. Because, like, okay, I'll give you an example. I feel like there's a lot of people that say they're super religious or super faithful, or whatever you want to call it, but at the end of the day, it's like you don't have a connection with God. Okay, and I'm not saying that connection doesn't exist, because like I have family members where like Eid will finish. I'm Muslim, by the way, so when Eid finishes, like they'll cry. Yeah. Or sorry, when Ramadan finishes, Eid starts, they'll cry. They'll be like, "Oh my God, this holy month is coming to an end," and they're like tears are naturally coming down their face, because they have that connection with the month, with God, and what's going on. Well, me on the other hand, I'm like sick. Like, it's time to eat. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So for me, it's like, you have to build the type of person you are and then have that connection. Because for me, I can't have a connection with God because I know He created us all. I do believe that. I'm not like the type to say, oh, science can't prove it, blah, blah. I'm not like that. But my point is, I do believe He created us. But from my own like personal mentality, it's like, okay, well, my mother created me, and I have a solid connection with her. Yeah. So, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not calling her my God, but I have a solid connection with her because of that. I don't have that with God yet. I need to work on that.
It's a relational thing, right?
Yeah, and I don't know how to do that. Yeah. So that's my biggest flaw.
And you're not gonna try to fake it just for like a community's sake or to please people. Exactly. And I think too, a lot of people. You mentioned a bit about like your family who like they cry when Eid's done. Is like, you can't go and look at someone and try to mimic their faith. You have to find it for yourself individually, right?
Exactly.
So I respect that. So last question before we go into rapid fire. If you could go back in time, what would you tell grade 9 Basir Ahmad just about to enter high school?
All right. First of all, just about to enter high school? Oh, I was about to say, I thought
first
leaving high school. Oh,
first day of grade 9. What would you say to him?
Yo, first of all, I'd be like, okay, because my parents, when I was going into grade 9, my parents were really pushing me to take a lot of business classes. I would say don't take those classes. It's like follow what you want to do, because I did take a lot of like creative art classes and drama classes and stuff, and like I feel like I was better at that. So I would obviously emphasize take more of that and less of like the business aspect, to be honest, and just be a little less socially awkward. It's crazy because I'm not like that anymore, and all my friends will tell you the same thing, but in high school I was just always to myself. And it's not like I wouldn't talk to anyone, because I still would. I had my circle of friends and whatever, but it's just, spread your wings, because once I started doing that in university, like my sister gave me the goal. She's like, just meet as much as people as you can the first year, because your circle of life when it comes to friends just shrinks. And you know what? It did. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Like, I still have people I just hit up randomly, like, yo, let's go get a coffee, let's go chill, whatever, right? But I'm talking about my actual core circle of friends who I'll talk to in like a WhatsApp group 24/7. It shrinks, right, over time. And she's right. If I had that same mentality from like grade 9 until now, I probably would have known a bunch more people, right? Yeah. And I'm not saying like I don't know anybody, but at the same time, it's just like, be open-minded to that, and just, it helps you get more confident and burst out of your bubble that you're in.
That's something I respect about you, is because I was kind of like the opposite. I was super, what do you call it? I'm at a loss for words. I was super outgoing in high school. Everyone knew me. I was valedictorian. When I got to university, like I experienced that thing, like the same thing, like, your group of friends shrinks. But like I never went to profs to talk. I never went to office hours. I never went to like as much clubs and after school things. I wasn't that guy going to people and being like, yo, my name is such and such. Like, I kept to myself, went home, did my thing. I regret that, because I'm like, I've been able to network, I've been able to make friends and whatever. But like when I used to see someone, like when you're in university, like in your cohort, the people who are like the super outgoing people, like they're always going up, dapping up people, talking. I wish I would have done that. That's something I kind of regret not doing. But you kind of like seeing what you were doing, and even I think you like you were like hosting a bunch of events. You went to the Blind Duck, did some stuff. So I honor you for that, because I'm like, yo, a lot of people don't do that, because I'm sure there's some of those relationships that, you know, they go both ways now. Like you can reach out to people for certain things, right? And if you didn't do that in university, who knows where you would have been, right? So,
yeah, and exactly, just like how you said, like going into like joining different clubs and, you know, like being a part of like a group where you just dab up everyone.
Yeah,
I use photography as the same thing, you know. Like I still want to have that, because I can't go back to university and just be like, oh, yo, what up? Because like my graduation class left, you know.
Yeah.
So now it's like, all right, so how? This is just an excuse for me to meet new people too, right?
Yeah.
And I just feel like everyone needs that in their life, you know, like
Yeah.
use that as an outlet. Like you can use this, for example, to meet different people you might not even know.
Yeah.
Reach out to them on Instagram. Oh, yo, you're popping. Come on my show.
Yeah,
And if they come,
exactly.
boom, friendship.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we reached that point in the episode where it's rapid fire. So first thing that comes to your head, and we're gonna start with Pepsi or Coke.
Pepsi.
All right. Advil or Tylenol.
Advil.
Apple or Android.
Android.
Brampton or Saga.
Saga.
What? Okay. PlayStation or Xbox.
PlayStation.
Canon, Nikon, or Sony.
Sony. Canon.
Okay. Top 3 rappers of all time.
Of all time?
Yeah.
It's hard to say. Okay, you know what? I'll just do the top 3 I like. Nas, Rakim, J. Cole.
Hey. Favorite place you've traveled, local or international?
Favorite place would be BC.
Favorite book you read or are reading?
I don't read books. I'm just being honest.
Favorite song right now that you're listening to?
Favorite song right now that I'm listening to? Is... Oh, so I just got back on D Pride Russell. The Walls.
Okay.
That's my song right now.
Who's one person that everyone should go right now on IG and check them out if they're an influencer or whatever?
Well, we've been talking about him the whole show. Peter McKinnon. Shout outs. I'm going to tag everyone in this circle so we repost. No, I'm joking. Yeah.
U of T downtown campus or UTM?
UTM. Downtown campus is just too far.
I feel like the only reason I went to UTM is because of the free bus pass, but that's me.
Yeah. Same. Facts.
Facts.
You save like $300 a month, man.
I'm telling you, man. I'm going to throw it back with this one, but Patient Watch or Fire Watch?
Oh, no.
Security days.
Yo, Fire Watch. You
Watch?
can walk around.
Yo, be on your laptop.
God.
Most influential person on your life, if you had to say one person.
My dad.
Hey. Yay, we got a dad for once. It's all being moms, not that moms aren't. If you go back to a single point of your life, what day would that be?
A single point in my life?
Just for one day if you go back.
Single point. I want to say something fun, but I feel like I should say something meaningful and deep. No, I'm not going to say it. I'll say my birthday, like third year university. Just do a big party. It was just fun. It's good vibes.
If there was a movie on your life, what would the title read?
The movie on my life?
Yeah.
A movie of my life. What would I call it? Jeez, yeah. That was the first thing that came to my mind.
Tristan's would be Nyai.
Yeah.
If they didn't cast you and they got a celebrity, it doesn't have to be a lookalike. Who would you want them to play you?
To play me?
Yeah.
And G's?
And G's.
Who would play me? That's a good question. Damn it.
Doesn't have
what
to
kind
be
of
the
movie
same,
is it going to be?
You know what? It doesn't have to be the same color. Whatever you want.
Like, yo, Gerald Butler is like my favorite actor.
I know.
But like, yo, Adam Sandler could probably do a good job playing me. So,
hey. If you could have coffee with anyone from any point in history, dead or alive, who would it be?
Coffee with any person, dead or alive, who would it be?
Just to pick their brain.
Peter McKinnon.
Yo,
I sound like such a fanboy, but like, yo, to be honest,
so dope.
I respect this craft that much that like I speak highly of him. So,
yeah. If you could be any animal, what would you be?
Yo, okay, let me tell you a little story. Okay, why I'm gonna pick this animal. My birthday, I think it was like 2 years ago. So my parents never gave me a cake. It was the first time they got me a cake in years.
Oh wow.
Okay. And they bring me the box out, like, yeah, let's cut it. I open it, and the name on the cake is spelled wrong.
Oh my god.
It's spelled bear. BAIR. So I'm like, you know what? Everyone just calls me that. That's like my animal now. So I picked that. Bear. There you go.
Name a song that puts you in your feelings.
Ooh, puts me in my feelings. Yo, okay, I don't have a song like that because it could be a depressing song, but I'll jam out to it.
Yeah.
Like, yo, like Marvin's Room is.
Yes, that's.
But yo, it gets me hype.
Yeah.
Yo, I don't get sad to that song. It just gets me hype.
Oh man.
Yeah.
If you were stranded on an island, what 2 things would you want with you?
2 things: my camera and my camera. Food, I guess.
Food. All right.
Yeah.
What style did you rock that you look back now and wish you never rocked?
The baggy, super baggy sweats with like the baggy tee.
Yes.
And like a little sweatband on my arm and stuff.
Did you do the sock in the pants thing?
Yeah, my mom was like, "Yo, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Yo, it's just something people do, and no one was doing it." So,
oh man,
and I was a skinny kid, so it just looked even more weird. Yeah.
Favorite food of all time?
Afghan. It's an Afghan dish called mantu.
What job would you be horrible at?
Modeling.
Where do you feel most out of place?
When I'm modeling.
That connected right there. You go. When you die, what would you want your biggest legacy that you leave behind to be?
I want people to remember like the relationships we had. You know, I don't want them to really. You can remember me as a good person, yeah, but like I want you to remember like the times we had. It's kind of corny to say, but
no, it's true.
Yeah, like I feel like you remember people better based on the relationship you had with them. So I mean, that's a big thing for me. Like just if you could remember who we were when we were chilling, it's just as important as knowing that you remember me. So yeah.
Lastly, if your life was a book, what's the title of the current chapter of your life right now? If you could put a title to it.
If I could put a title to the current chapter in my life. Developing my Kodak moment. Because I'm trying to like work towards that bigger picture. So like,
wow.
Yeah, there you go.
There's the title of your podcast right there.
Hey.
So you survived rapid fire. Now it's guest corner, so you can plug anything you want. The mic is yours, sir.
Follow me on Instagram. Ahmad BFX, AHMAD BFX. Follow my photography account, BFX Photography. The other one's just my personal account. I just post like pictures of me where you can't see my face. I don't like being in photos. What else? You can follow my feature account. If you're a photographer, I'll try to feature you. It's Click Clique 6. So it's CLICK, CLIQUE, and then the number sign 6IX. I thought I spelled it wrong for a second. Aside from that, follow me on Snapchat. It's my first name and my last name. That's it. And shout out to everyone else that's watching. And honestly, shout out to Matt. People don't realize this is really hard to do.
Yeah. Appreciate that, bro.
And the fact that you're so comfortable in front of the camera, it's awesome.
I'm trying. I was telling him at the beginning, I'm like, I've done like this is gonna be episode 13, and I'm like, the first bit of it, I'm just like I'm nervous all the time, but whatever. But it's easier when you got someone on the episode who could just have super dope conversations. So appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thanks,
and did you want to kind of shout out the thing about the end of August with the portraits?
Oh yeah, so yeah, thanks for reminding me. If anybody wants to do any photo shoots, it could be for anything: your music, your photography, your clothing line, your modeling, your podcast, anything. Yeah, so just hit me up. I'm as long as I like what you're doing and it's not consuming a lot of my time, I try to accommodate your schedule and hit me up. Yo, make some like fire quality edits, photos, whatever you want. Let's do it. Some prints. Let's do it.
And before we end the show today, actually, you said you don't like being in pictures, but I mean this sincerely. The picture, like your logo picture for BFX Photography, where you're on that circle, and that's probably one of the dopest like edits I've ever seen in terms of photography. Like I remember like when you first just started. I'm sure you did it before we met, but like, and I've even seen the growth of your photography. But when I saw that, I'm like, yo, that just changed the game. So that's a dope picture, man.
Thanks, yo. Appreciate it.
So before we end the show today, something I like to do is give you guys a word of encouragement. Not that you're always fishing for it, but you guys sometimes need to slow down and just hear it for what it is. So one thing I always respect about you and knowing you for the short time that I have is your hustle. Because I remember when we were both working security and we're still in uni, like you were super involved. You did all these things in school. You did photography. You did work. But you were hustling, and it didn't always have to be in your field, but you always put like your effort into it. So I appreciate that.
Yo, hold on. You got to tell everyone how long the shifts were.
Oh my God, 12-hour shifts.
And tell them when the shifts were.
It was like 7 to 7 or 9 to 9 or like, oh my God, horrible shifts. And like Paladin would try to strong arm you and be like, oh, there's no coverage. You got to stay an hour. I'm like, nah, I'm leaving. Like, what? Like, this is against workers, like labor laws.
Facts.
But I think the reason I said that is because I think a lot of young people want success, but they're not willing to put in the time, and I see that driving you. So I appreciate you inspiring people silently, not always just being like, look what I'm doing, but you're just doing it and you're letting your work speak for itself. I think a lot of people are trying to prove I'm a dope content creator or beg people to check out their content when their work's, but like you're doing your thing and you actually have quality work. Like I mentioned before, like I've seen that progression when you first started doing photos to where it is now. And I think that's so much more powerful than just being like, oh, I bought like a 5D Mark III and boom, right? So I like seeing that growth in you. I think your multi-talented portfolio was such an asset to any team or company, or even if you do something individually, that I don't think a company can actually pay your worth, because like you said, like you might be doing digital marketing, but you have this other skill like blogging, and like if they knew about it, like they'd have to bump up your pay. And lastly, I'm excited to see where your craft takes you. I think it's dope that, you know, both of us as brown kids, like you're not pursuing the typical pathway, but you're making a name for yourself in something you love and you're passionate about, and you're not subscribing to the conventional ways of doing things. So that was my little spiel to gas you up. But
thank you.
It's actually facts,
I feel pretty gassed.
But Basir, I just wanted to sincerely thank you for being on the show, and like
Thanks
I said, appreciate you for doing the live, you know, critique on the podcast, giving me some tips, and I'm looking forward to getting you on in the future, bro.
Down, yo. Once you pop and you're like the next Breakfast Club. Gee.
Hopefully. I keep talking about Drake. We'll get him on the podcast. All right.